Speak Student!
Beowulf, a la Shmoop. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Oh, sorry.
So Beowulf's a long, epic poem, and part of the reason it's such a beast is that we hear the same stories over and over and over again. So think about Beowulf killing Grendel. First we get the narrator's account of the action. Then Beowulf explains to Hrothgar what happened, so it's a little bit of a different perspective. And finally he tells the story again when he gets home to his own lord, Hygelac. What's the purpose of the repetition? You know, you're telling the same story from many different perspectives. We have great examples in modern literature where doing this kind of the same thing. It's equally really not exciting. So tell us what
it is not exciting, but it's meaningful. It's all about perspective. Depending on who is telling a story and who they're telling it to, whom they're telling it to, we'll get a different version of the story. So we get the narrator telling about Beowulf killing Grendel, then we have Beowulf telling stories. That's two different tellers. And then the third version is Beowulf again telling it, but now he's telling it to someone else. He's telling it to his lord. So depending on who's telling the story and who it's getting told to, we're going to get a different version. And it's not necessarily that, you know, Beowulf's lying when he's telling it to his lord of the Geats versus when he's telling it to Hrothgar, but it's just that he has a different audience. So, for example, when he goes back home and he's telling it to his own lord, he's trying to gain respect. Beowulf was not respected or not, you know, honored in his society, and what he did is he went out and he helped the Danes and he said, you know, I'm going to fight for these people and prove myself in order to gain respect. So when he's then telling the story to his people, he emphasizes how intense Grendel was and what a terrible monster he is. When he tells the story to Hrothgar, Hrothgar knows that. He was, I mean, like, hello, like Grendel destroyed his meat hall 1,000 times. So he knows that, and Beowulf doesn't have to talk about those details. But then when he goes home, he's trying to make himself look as heroic as possible. So he is making the bad guy look as bad as possible. So again, it's really just the emphasis that the storyteller places on one aspect or another just gives us a different perspective of the story. This is super common in epic poems. Again, part of the reason why they're super long, in addition to the digressions, is this repetition. But every time you see a story repeated, don't think, oh, I already heard this, like I know what happens, I can just skim over, because you're gonna probably get a different version than what you already read.
What specific event gets recounted over and over and over again, and by whom? What's the purpose of telling the same story several times in Beowulf? Are the tellings of the story the same each time? And if not, how are they different? Why would they be different?
Hello, like Grendel destroyed his meat hall 1,000 times.